I haven't committed to a new team yet, but man, is it tempting right now. After 23 years, the Seattle Mariners have reached a point in the franchise where not only managerial staff is needed, but maybe some more changes higher up. But hey, at least the replacements are the players of the most historical team in franchise history. Let's get into it. Oh my god, I have a canker sore on my tongue, so this is gonna suck this whole entire recording. Welcome back to the Touching Bases podcast. Good to see your beautiful baseball smiling faces. If you're new here, give it a like at the very end if I deserve it. If this is your second or third video, seeing this mug, maybe hit the red button down below. You're back, aren't you? And plus we can talk in the comments and have civil conversations. If you think I'm wrong about something, I'm more than willing to hear you out. You know, you don't have to come at me all aggressive. I'm willing to say I'm wrong. It happens a lot, actually. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys like the childish bandwagon view of this in the simplistic terms, and then I'll dive more into the criticizing takes that really show the flaws of this organization and some worries I have. The Mariners have the most exciting team to watch in 2024. Up to June 18th. And for being a team that's a second half team for many years, this season, not so much. Now, this most entertaining team to watch in the AOS has become basically the laughing stock of the MLB in a matter of 2 months. From June 18th to now, they've lost a 10-game lead over Houston to now be 5 games back of the Astros, posting a team average that is the worst in baseball. And by average, I mean batting average. And even though they have picked up 2 major bats that have been on fire most of the season, and one of them being one of the best hitters in July, suddenly has completely froze, and I can't explain why. If you saw my last video, Scott Service was fired, and so was Jarrett DeHart. Now today, we know who's filling the roles officially, and that would be the former catcher of the Mariners, Dan Wilson. He will be taking over the managerial position indefinitely, and as of today, they announced a replacement for Jarrett DeHart, which is the Mariners Hall of Famer and future Hall of Famer Edgar Martinez. Jerry DiPoto has really dug deep into the history of this team and pulled out the players of the 2001 Mariners that the team views as legends, and well, I guess hopefully to show them how to win 116 games next season, or I don't know, maybe make the playoffs, I guess. But hey, maybe this is a stepping stone to something big, like maybe hiring, you know, the one and only MVP, Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove, future Hall of Famer, Ichiro Suzuki. Maybe bring him back and assist with the hitting and assist with the fielding. Get someone who is the best contact hitter of his era, who has been honestly coaching this team's last 2 years in spring training, and he's only 48 years old, so he's not like down and out. And I would say at this point, this is kind of the trend that Jerry's going towards, and maybe that's the open door. Now, why would they do that? Well, remember what I said, they were really hot hitting in the beginning of the season, and now it's fallen off. He has been there helping the team hitting and fielding wise during spring training, and maybe over the course of time with the other management that is now gone, and when it comes to hitting, they've been giving them bad pointers. They haven't been helping them improve. Well, clearly they haven't, but maybe it's the teachings of Ichiro that has really opened up their eyes to hit well in the beginning of the season, and then they lose sight of that when they're corrected by these other coaches who are no longer with the system. Kind of like rainbows and butterflies with like a taste of reasonable. It kind of makes sense. But I mean, let's now get more down to earth. Now I'm talking to the Mariner fanatics. Now I'm talking to the diehards, the one who smell that shit in the corner of the room, and now we've moved the couch and we can smell it and see it. How could the general management mishandle this situation so badly? And not only is this the first time, they did it less than a month ago with Ty France. Service found out he was fired through a fully typed out, edited, and published article from Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic explaining his firing in full detail before DiPoto ever even scheduled a meeting with him. There's literally 2 ways that this could have happened, and I maybe there's a third, but I don't know what it is. First one, Ken has a contact that gives 0 shits about this team's integrity and gets paid for the kickback to leak information, and he or she is basically 2 for 2, as they did with Ty France and now Scott Service. Seems like social media finds out before the players or the coaches do. Or, this is where I get a little bit more conspiratorial, but it's very reasonable given the timeline. Owner John Stanton is the mole, and he's making these calls before Jerry is notified and continues to fuck this organization into this White Sox style future of 2025 and 2026. Why? Because players aren't stupid and they don't want to play for a team where the GM has no control because the puppeteer, who won't even spend money, wants to change stuff on his own court. Why is this possible? This is just observation, so take it with a grain of salt, but maybe he was a huge fan of the Mariners in 2001, as all Seattleites were back in the day, and it seems that maybe he just wants to get the band together, but more in a managerial position, and we can repeat history or something. It doesn't make sense to me. Either way, it's an issue how the media is getting a hold of this stuff before the actual employees of this organization can get notified. On top of that, we're looking at a permanent hiring of Dan Wilson, a catcher that is a legend in Seattle. Not going to take that away. I respect him forever. But he has never managed a team in his life. And if you look over at Edgar Martinez taking over at hitting, great Hall of Fame candidate that Seattle's named a street after, and not even Griffey has that, but has never been a hitting coach for an MLB ball club. Now, the interesting thing on this is, like I said, the timeline. Jerry said that he had been talking to Dan about the manager position for 3 to 4 days. Not weeks, not months, 3 to 4 days before making his decision. What? You're telling me a GM with very little history, actually no history of making reactionary split decision moves on any team he's worked for, fires his longtime teammate, friend, and coworker with 3 to 4 days of discussions with Dan Wilson? I don't believe it. Flat out. Even if Service and Dipoto were having issues, and I'm not saying that they were, but if they were, Jerry would absolutely do more due diligence to make sure that the next era of manager is going to be the right fit, right? But hey, maybe he only needed 4 days to chat with him to make up his mind. Or someone above him said that was his favorite player of 2001, and he's going to now manage the team. Do it or you're fired. I don't know, just a thought. Conspiracy. You guys start thinking about it. You know, I kind of wonder, what is the contract going to be for Dan Wilson? Is it cheaper than Scott's? I mean, if it is, I have money that like the little sticky fingers is going to be Stanton rubbed all over this mess, and it makes the organization look sloppy and unprofessional. If you haven't caught on, I hate this guy with a fiery passion. Now, Scott Service gave a thanks to pretty much everyone for his time in Seattle, and he was clearly not happy about the whole thing. He gave about like 10 seconds of recognition to the front office and ownership, probably more of a PR smart move to make sure he doesn't burn a bridge with whatever team that he wants to join later on or wants to hire him, because nobody wants to deal with a manager who's going to be disgruntled and talk shit to the media after they get let go if things don't work out. But you should also consider he's going to find a job somewhere else. Guaranteed, because he is the second most winning manager in Mariner history, so he is a very good manager. He's just been kind of set up for failure, and I think now we're starting to see the bigger picture that there's a lot of messed up things that this organization needs to clean up, and hopefully soon, because this offseason nobody's going to want to sign with the Mariners if they have to deal with this bullshit. Now, to Scott Service and Ty France, I mean, the fans and myself were very sorry for the way this has ended. I mean, like Ty, I know he is going to have an amazing career outside of this Stanton mess, but it still sucks that it didn't work out. Even though we needed a change, it shouldn't have gone down like this. Now, I have more to say, but I'll leave it for you guys to ask the questions down in the comments, and then also tell me your thoughts on this whole moment in Mariner history that we are witnessing. What do you think is going on? And you know, might not agree with what I'm saying here, and most of it's conspiracy, but the timeline's very, very odd, especially with the hiring of Dan Wilson. If you're still here, please consider subscribing because it's free, and you can correct me in future videos if you think I'm wrong. If you're an M's fan, go ahead and like the video, and sick of the high school drama that we're witnessing, and then comment. Who are you mad at the most? Scott Service, Jerry Dipoto? Is it John Stanton, or are you just more pissed at the players for not performing? Let me know, and I'll see you amazing baseball people in the next one. Later.